Hey everyone, Storm Van Houten here. It's Sunday, August 24th, 2025. Today's video is nothing about true crime. It's nothing about Manson, none of that. This is actually something completely different. I want to basically complain about the movie Aquaman. And I want to tell you why it sucks and why Hollywood did one of the worst jobs of trying to make that movie good and real and reasonable and whatever and like acceptable. It was just, they did a horrible job with Aquaman. Okay, first of all, there's only a couple of superheroes that we even like that have even worked in the, in movies, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Batman, Superman. Okay, those have seemed to work. Everybody else has failed, it seems like. The Hulk was okay. I think that was okay. Then you had, Wonder Woman failed. And you had some other failures that just, Green Lantern, that's another failure right there. That's a big time failure. And then you have Aquaman. Oh my God. In my opinion, it's even worse than Green Lantern. And Green Lantern's considered the worst fucking, like comic book movie ever made. But Aquaman to me is absolutely terrible. Jason Momoa is absolutely the wrong actor to play Aquaman. That was the wrong choice right there. Everything about Aquaman in the movie, it just seems so like Little Mermaid, like under the sea, and you got a crab dancing and singing, and that was like, come on, man, really? That's the problem with Aquaman, is the story is just too lame and unbelievable. Well, he came from Atlantis and he under the ocean and all that. I mean, the whole story of Aquaman just seems lame. And then the problem with the movie with Jason Momoa is everything's under the sea and they're doing fights like in a coliseum, and it's just so like AI, like terrible. The storyline was terrible. Also, Jason Momoa, look, I have really nothing against him in other movies. He's actually a good actor and stuff. But as far as Aquaman, he's the wrong Aquaman. Aquaman did not have long hair. Aquaman did not have a beard. Aquaman was not that muscular and big. Okay? I'm just saying. Jesus. So he doesn't look anything like Aquaman or what Aquaman should look like. So the problem I have with the movie, it was just too under the sea, too Little Mermaid-ish, and the story was lame. And now I understand. Here's the problem with Aquaman, really. The problem with Aquaman, he's not very good outside the water. I mean, he's not going to go fight crime downtown LA, and he's going to be your partner in crime, and you're going to drive around the streets of Los Angeles, and it's not going to be like that. Everything he does has to be, unfortunately, out in the water. He communicates with animals, this and that. He's a good swimmer. He can breathe underwater. I get it. So now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Stoner, if you don't like the concept of, what Aquaman is and the whole thing and all that kind of stuff, what idea do you have? I'm glad you asked, because I actually do have an idea. Now, if Hollywood is watching, and if anybody's in Hollywood, you have my permission to steal this idea, because I want you to steal it. I do, believe me. Hollywood right now sucks. All the movies that they're producing right now sucks. Going to the movies right now is terrible. Back in the 80s, man, when I used to go to the movies, it was an experience. It was cool. It was fun. Cinerama Dome, fucking Century City Plaza, all these other places that we went to, Westwood. Man, it was fucking great. And now going to the movies is hell. It's stupid. It's expensive. It's lame. The movies are absolutely terrible. Hollywood has no good ideas. It's like they think they can take a movie from the 80s, and just because you have AI and green screens, you can remake it and make it better. Oh my God, that is such bullshit. Leave the classics as the classic. Anyway, let's get back to Aquaman and why Jason Momoa sucks at it, and the whole concept of Aquaman is absolutely terrible. Now, let me tell you my idea for a new Aquaman movie. Now, I'm not a writer. I'm not anybody. This is just my idea. I don't have it all together, but whoever's out there a writer, you can take this and steal it, and please make the movie out of this. But here's the basic concept of the new Aquaman. Hold on one second. Let me take a little break from my sponsors.
Well, I'm not a small ranch worker, and it fits me to a T.
Okay, we're back. So here's my idea for the brand new Aquaman movie. And if you're a writer, please take notes. Okay, the movie starts out that there's like this evil scientist who develops a fish boy. It's half boy, half human, half fish. It's an evil scientist in the lab, wants to mixes, man with fish and this and that, and creates this this thing called Fish Boy. We're just going to call him Fish Boy for right now because he doesn't have a name. So Fish Boy. And Fish Boy is about 10 years old, and he lives in a tank in the doctor's lab and this and that. And, he's friends with the doctor. He thinks the doctor's going to end up doing good. And, with him, like, what's the purpose of making me? Why did you make me? But the doctor really is up to evil because he's an evil doctor. Now, he realizes Fish Boy is getting smarter and better. Fish Boy is just like everything that Aquaman's supposed to be. You can breathe underwater. You can communicate with the other fish. Very fast swimmer. This and that. So the evil doctor is going to originally he was going to use him for evil. Now Fish Boy finds out about this. And he doesn't want to be a part of this, and he's in the lab. So he figures out a way to escape. So he ends up escaping, and there's some kind of chase thing or whatever. I don't know how he ends up escaping, but the actual like where the lab is actually near the coastline, near the ocean. And Fish Boy ends up escaping and then running down a cliff and heading towards the ocean. And the doctor knows he has to get him before he reaches the ocean because, once he gets in the water, man, you're not going to get him. And then sure enough, Fish Boy jumps into the water and swims away. And then the doctor's just left there on the shore like, no. And he takes off and never to be seen. The doctor thinks like, hey, I'm never going to see him again. Fuck. And, Fish Boy was only like 10. Now you got to flash forward to, like, and let's just say another 10 years or let's say 15 years. I don't know, he's like 25. Let's say he's like 21 years old. He's like 21. So you flash forward, he's 10. Now you're going to go until he's 21 years old now. Here's the thing about Fish Boy. He swims away. And it's kind of like Superman, because we're going to change the whole story of how Fish Boy kind of came to be. It's almost like Superman. He swims away, and remember, he's naked, and he swims away and comes up on a beach where there's this family there. A couple alone, and they see this boy, and he's naked on the beach. What the hell? And then they doesn't really speak and anything. They don't know what to do with him, and they take him in. And then before calling the cops or social services, they end up seeing that he has special powers and shit. And they're like, "Oh shit, we're not calling anybody." And then, just like in Superman, the mom says, we're gonna keep him, kind of like E.T. Remember, we're gonna keep him. So so they end up keeping him. So that's kind of like how Fish Boy gets raised by this family at the age of 10, kind of gets adopted, and they do some like weird paperwork. It's just a movie, so whatever. So he's raised by this family. So years and years go by. Fish Boy ends up becoming a professional big wave surfer. And he ends up becoming the greatest big wave surfer in the world, on the planet. And the reason that makes him, the one thing that makes him so special compared to all the other surfers is he can take on some of the biggest wipeouts ever, and he's able to get away so easily because he can swim, he can breathe underwater, and it's no problem. Think about this. Aquaman would make a great big wave surfer because anytime you crash, it doesn't matter. He can just swim right under and just swim away. He doesn't really need help from, the guy on the jet ski and everything. And a lot of these people can't figure it out. Like, dude, this guy, how is that even possible? You just wrecked on an 80-foot wave and you should be dead probably, but you just swam to the shore like it was nothing. So nobody can really figure it out, but they don't really question it because he's like the greatest big wave surfer ever. And he has a nice little career, and the parents are proud and all this kind of stuff. Well, one day, the evil doctor, who now, in this entire time now, the evil doctor has actually changed his ways. And in the 15 years, like it's 15 years later, he ends up, thinking that, oh man, I shouldn't have been mean to him. I should have, done better. And he ends up changing his way from being bad to end up being good. So one day, he's just sitting back having a beer or two, whatever. He's kind of just not, trying to think of what to do with his life because it's kind of, put on hold ever since Fish Boy left 15 years ago or whatever, so many years ago. He sees ESPN, big wave surfer, and then he sees him wiping out. And then when he wipes out in the replay that he's watching of Fish Boy, we're just still calling him Fish Boy. We'll give him a character name, whatever character name you can come up with. He sees him wiping out and then kind of swimming away underneath, and nobody notices it, but the doctor notices and says, "No fucking way. There's only one thing that can swim like that and make a motion like that. That's got to be no fucking way. It's got to be Fish Boy." So the fucking doctor gets up and he fucking goes down to like Half Moon Bay where they're having a big wave surfing contest or whatever. It goes Australia or wherever they have these big wave surfing contests. Half Moon Bay is actually one of them. So he goes to Half Moon Bay to go confront this particular surfer whose name's, whatever his name is. We'll still call him Fish Boy. So he goes down there and he confronts him and says, "Hey man, And as soon as Fishboy sees the doctor, he recognizes him, and the doctor recognizes Fishboy. And they have a moment when they have to kind of play it off like, yeah, because there's other people around, and they don't want people to know. And then once they get away privately, Fishboy's like, man, gets a little aggressive, like, hey man, don't get fucking near me. I'm gonna fucking fuck you. I should kill you. You son of a bitch. And then the doctor, this is where the doctor pleads his case to Fishboy, saying, look, I was wrong. I totally fucked up, man. Look, I'm gonna be good now. I have all this stuff that I've created that can help you, and you could be like the savior. You can help humanity and everything. And Fishboy's like, what are you talking about? He's like, yes, I have all this stuff, and this is where Aquaman gets his suit, gets certain gear, kind of like Iron Man. He's got to get like that certain kind of rubber suit, whatever you want to call it, that he could swim in. And he also changes his look. Now, right now, Fishboy has long blonde hair, and he looks like a fucking surfer. And then, of course, you're going to have to cut his hair shorter and turn him into what Aquaman looks like. Here's a picture of what I think Aquaman looks like. So there it is right there. And here's Jason Momoa over here. So he says, okay, so he goes back to the lab, and sure enough, the doctor shows him all the kind of stuff that he can have the suit, this and that, all that kind of stuff. You can help out people. I'm telling you, you can become something great. Now, here's the problem with Aquaman, and I said this before. Everything Aquaman does has to do with the ocean. He's very difficult to have, problem. How's he going to solve land? He's not going to fight crime. He's not a detective going around the streets of LA, like I said earlier. So that's the problem with Aquaman. So he transforms Aquaman into, he transforms Fishboy into Aquaman. Gives him all the stuff. He gives him his gear and everything, and he sets him up kind of like the way Batman had Alfred and all this kind of stuff, and he gives him all the stuff that makes him Aquaman. And sure enough, one of the things that happens, of course, there's a submarine, a Russian submarine, or whatever kind of submarine, you can pick any country. A Russian submarine's trapped. There's guys down there, they're trapped, they need air, blah, blah, blah. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Bam, here comes Aquaman for the first time, introducing himself into society. Military people see him. What the fuck is this? Who is that? Hey, is that what's his name? The big wave surfer? Well, fuck, and then they realize, okay, he's not a big wave surfer, man. He's Aquaman. And he ends up helping, but yet the military and the government are very suspicious of who the fuck are you? Are you working for us? This and that, Kind of like the way Iron Man had to kind of break himself out. And that's where it goes. And that's the story for my Aquaman movie. That's all it is. You just turn Aquaman into a big wave surfer. You make it more believable. You have none of this under the sea AI green screen stuff. You have some really cool big wave surfing. You get some other big wave surfers in there. You go down to the beach, this and that. You kind of make it more like a movie instead of some kind of like animation sort of weird shit thing that Jason Momoa now has made into Aquaman. That's why Aquaman today with Jason Momoa is terrible. So anybody out there that wants to steal that idea, and you can even add some stuff to it and fucking make it better, go ahead, please. I encourage everybody out there, please, to steal my idea and make it, because Hollywood right now is terrible. It's a joke. All the movies coming out are horrible. There's no creative idea. There's no original ideas at all. And I have another idea for a great time travel movie, but that's a video for another day. Stoner Van Houten here, explaining to you why Jason Momoa and Aquaman, the movie, absolutely sucks, and they need to redo it. Take care, everybody.